Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Sirs and Mrs. Ma'ams. Welcome to today's edition of the Lady Bedazzled Hannah Show, where I will be sharing with you my review of the Barbie movie that came out a few months ago. I wanted to go and see it, but being a new mom, my baby boy is 6 months old now, I've been very well occupied. So that sadly didn't happen, but I was able to rent it on Redbox, and I am here. Let's do this, you guys. And just to maybe just relax us a little bit, because yes, it might get rather controversial and you probably won't like my opinion, most of you, but that is okay. Everyone is entitled to your own opinions and views and thoughts and feelings. They are all valid, whether we agree or disagree. So I just want to have a little bit of a peace offering with this super adorable Barbie fidget spinner. It's not a fidget spinner. I'm so sorry, not a fidget spinner. Fidget gadget, I guess you would say. Like, when I saw this, I was in love. I'm like, I have to have it. So let's do a little bit of, because fast and aggressive ASMR is relaxing in my opinion. It's not everyone's cup of tea, and that is totally a-okay. All right. Let's start at the very beginning, shall we? I have made some videos on one of my YouTube channels. I believe it's my Lady Bedazzled Hannah YouTube channel. I do have three. I have the Lady Hannah ASMR, this one, which is the Lady Bedazzled Hannah Show, and Lady Bedazzled Hannah. So I'm sorry that there's like so much of me. I'm not trying to make it confusing or complicated or overwhelming, but depending on what your niche is, yeah, I would love for you to hang out with me and vibe and enjoy the content that I bring to you. And if not, that is totally okay. You can keep on scrolling by or completely ignore. But anyway, so growing up, because this is where I'm going to preface way at the beginning. Me and my two sisters, we were allowed to play with Barbie, but we weren't really allowed to call her Barbie. We called her a 10-inch doll. And that is because I remember my dad had this eBay toys history kind of a book, and there was a myriad of different toys. And one of them was the Barbie doll. And from my recollection, to the best of my memory serving me, Barbie was not intended for little girls as inspiration and a toy and this plaything, this childhood fun, cute, pretty, doll that we want to, play, make believe, and dress up. But instead, it was actually intended for grown-up men as like a sensual sexual icon thing, kind of a thing. And I think maybe even for like prisoner men. If you want to correct me in the comments, let me know. I apologize if I'm getting this incorrect, but that's just what I remember it being. So it might have been because of that, and also because maybe back from my childhood. I am almost 33 years old. It seems like there's a lot of just scandalously clad Barbies. They just weren't very modestly dressed, and I was raised in a very conservative, very sheltered upbringing, circle, family kind of a thing. So that really makes sense of why, we were so like careful in our wording and what we played with and all that kind of stuff in our childhood. So we got these really beautiful modest dresses. We pretended that they were moms, mommies, that they were raising families, that they were like maybe in these old-fashioned movies that we would watch a lot. And it was very pleasant, very enjoyable, very fun. And I was very content and happy. And me and my two sisters was the girly girl. Like, I love to dress up and have tea parties, and we didn't do makeup growing up. Like, I remember my mom, really the most she ever did was lipstick. I know back in her earlier marriage, she did do a lot of like heavy makeup. It was beautiful, but it eventually got to like irritating her skin and stuff, so she just didn't do that anymore. Plus she had 9 kids with my dad, so it's understandable, like you don't really have time for that when you are basically running a farm and raising a family and being a stay-at-home mom. So anyway, me being this girly girl growing up, I had American Girl dolls because we couldn't afford the real American Girl. Oh, that's my baby and hubby. They're laughing, having fun. And then so I had Dollhouse dolls, I had the American Girl dolls, and the 10-inch dolls, the Barbie dolls. And Barbie to me, oh my gosh, you guys, I have freaking adored Barbie. Barbie was an icon because she had this perfect, dreamy, gorgeous figure that always inspired me. And in my entirety of almost 33 years of life, I have never been able to attain that. So when Barbie, yes, Barbie did change at some point, and that's one of my YouTube videos where I was like really disappointed and upset because I'm like, okay, Barbie was perfect. Why would you change her? Let her be, because I guess because in reality, no one can be that unless you have a ton of money and you can get all these surgeries and you can make all these changes to your body to be really close to that. And for all of us average women, that's not as possible. We have to work extra hard, which maybe that's a good thing. It builds our character, and it just, it can be a good thing. So I was like, why would you change her to be curvy and having some extra weight, or being short and tall, and all these different changes to who she was. I'm like, no, Barbie was amazing. Let her stay as is. But there's still the iconic original Barbie figure, and she still is to this day my outer beauty inspiration. Um, yeah, it's just interesting, like kind of pieces all together. So, and then so the closest I've ever come to being Barbie's figure was a couple years ago when before I moved from Colorado down here to Mississippi. Nebraska is my native home state, by the way. Go Big Red! um, I weighed, for some reason in my head, I thought, 110 pounds is this, like, just like this really amazing weight. Like, this is perfection, I guess. So I weighed, or maybe it was 112, 110 to 112. I was that. And I look back on those pictures, I'm like, I was so skinny. I was a skinny queen, which I think that was too skinny for my BMI, but at least I was able to like seem like I was in a healthier state. And then, I got married and had a child, and I've gained all this extra weight, and according to my BMI, I am overweight. I am fat. And I'm like, oh no, yes, I've been saying this forever. I am a work in progress. I'm always called fatophobic, which I'm like, everyone loves to have a phobic and an ist, it seems. I'm like, that's really unfortunate. Like, instead of actually assessing these issues and societal things, like, why can't we actually talk about that instead of just name calling like confetti? It's kind of crazy. But so I'm like, we want to be healthy, we want to be beautiful. So yeah, I'm still a work in progress, and I will get there. It's hard, but anything worth doing is hard. So anyway, yes, Barbie is still my outer beauty inspiration. The Proverbs 31 woman in the Bible is my inner beauty inspiration. And yes, I love both. Now let's get to the movie. Okay, so there's a lot to unpack in that movie, but at the same time, I knew what I was getting into. And Stefan Molyneux, he's an amazing podcast. My husband listens to him all the time, and whenever I get a chance, I'm actually listening to one of his podcasts currently. I haven't finished it. It's on Matthew Perry's passing and his life and everything. I highly, highly recommend. That's a 10 out of 10 show. I really hope everyone can listen to if you get a chance. But so anyway, I guess I was thinking that it was going to turn out more positive than I was. I guess that's kind of like, I was thinking like, yeah, it's going to be a better movie than I originally thought, because Stephen Molyneux seemed to speak positively on, but I didn't hear um his whole talk on it, because I start these things and it's just, I have to be really careful with my time because I'm a mom and I'm really busy, being a mom. But anyway, okay, so the movie. So starting out, the little girls are having tea. Well, they're not having tea parties, but kind of like they're feeding their dolls the tea, and they're being these sweet, loving, caring, nurturing moms, right? To their dolls, and they're all just kind of in la la land and pretending to be, this beautiful traditional, kind of like homemaker, stay at home mom. But then Barbie steps into the scene, and obviously she's like oversized and is trying to be this, um, kind of like this dream world, this imagination kind of a thing. And the little girls they stop what they're doing and they look up and they're like, oh, it's Barbie. Who doesn't want to be Barbie? And she's all like winking at them and like, like, girls, like, you just know that she's vibing. You want to be this, right? So those little girls, what do they do? I have never, I think, I'm trying to bring my emotions together, because maybe the way to describe it is I was deeply disturbed and just, um, horrified, and I'm haunted from it in a way, because there's such, um, it's just such a heavy, dark view of slamming the homemaker, the stay-at-home mom. And sure, there's so many inspirational takeaways from Barbie, because there is a time and place when women should be out in the workforce, and we have to take care of ourselves and provide for ourselves. If, we're not going to get married, if it is not our calling to marry a man, or some of us women unfortunately have gotten divorced, or there's those that will get divorced, or maybe you are a widow, or there's I get that there's so many dynamics, but without those special circumstances, it's just such a harsh slam that it's just horrible. It's horrible to me. So those little girls, not, it's one thing if they wanted to take their baby dolls, because I had baby dolls growing up. I was ever so loving and gentle and caring and nurturing and sweet, and pretending feeding them their baby bottles and dressing them up and rocking them and pretending I'm nursing them, all these wonderful things, right? So these little girls, it would have been, yes, it would have been one thing if they would have taken them and dropped them to the ground, like, and forgotten all of a sudden and looked up like, Barbie, I want to be you, yes, like. But no, they literally smashed those dolls on the ground and on each other, broke everything around them, and were vengeful, were hostile, were angry, were mean, were just awful. I'm like, it's like, I've never seen anything like this in my life. And I guess considering how there is so much abuse out there anyway, and neglect, and I've read some stories, and I'm like, it's like you will be haunted for the rest of your life, and you want to forget about it because you can't believe humans can be this sinister, this cruel, this heartless, this cold. So that was really hard for me to digest. Like, this isn't happening, but it did. So that, and like, that was really hard. Um, but then when it shows Barbie in there throughout the movie, or kind of in the beginning, and like, you can be all these things in the workforce. Yes, you can. And I have had my time and place where I have worked at different jobs and tried for careers and different things, because, before I got married, and then after I got divorced and remarried, and all these things. So there's a time and place for that, but um it's just it's just emphasizing on, like, that's the best thing in life, when it should be like, if you want to be a stay-at-home mom, that's great, and it's celebrating, it's wonderful, because there is a scene in there like, oh, pregnant Barbie is weird, she's weird. So we're, making these really negative connotations towards her when I'm like, actually, motherhood is one of the most beautiful and wholesome and honoring and blessed roles that a woman can be called to do. It's not for everyone, definitely. But I'm like, just imagine if we did that towards the career Barbie. The whole world would lose its mind. So that was another hard thing for me. I loved, because there's positive and negative. I saw it was mostly, I have a negative review. I'm sorry. But for whatever it's worth, I just wanted to share. And I thought it was really cool because it's like it's this Barbie land. Obviously, it's this make believe, and you feel like you are playing with all the Barbie accessories and the dolls and everything. But I was like, well, it's kind of interesting because everyone is just Ken or Barbie, and they didn't have actual names because I named all of my dolls growing up. And yes, sometimes I would forget what I named them, but I would rename them or something. Excuse me. um, and then I thought it was interesting, or it was like, I'm like, okay, this is different because when she would be eating, Barbie was eating foods or different things, like she'd be floating through the air, down from her house into her car, or, her juices or whatever. It was fake and she's pretending. I'm like, okay, so it's like it's real, but it's fake. Like, I get what's trying to happen, but it's like, but yet it's real life people, it's not animation. So it's kind of like, I wish they would have maybe made it more realistic, even though it is a make-believe Barbie world. I don't know, just my thoughts. um and yes, the feminist agenda was strong coming through. Me being a strong feminine woman, that's the opposite of being a feminist. Because in feminism, I am so sorry. I have a lot of work to do when it comes to my videos and editing and cutting stuff out and whatever. So I apologize that this is not going to be an edited movie. But anyway, so yeah. Let's see, where am I going with this? Trying to get this all back together. Yeah, so with this whole feministic, like, men, it's, women are better than men, or we want to be equal, when it's like, no, God has, coming from a Christian perspective, God has created, yes, men and women to be equal. We are both human beings and we are amazing in our differences, but we're very different from each other, and that is how it is supposed to be. So we have different roles in life as well. And yes, there's a lot of unfair things in society. There's still changes that can be made, I think. But, as a whole, it's like, no, like, it's not that we're better than you and you're better than us. We're uniquely different and we're supposed to complement each other. So, that's another thing that I'm like, I knew that's what I was getting into with this movie. Um, but it's like, and then I thought it was like, okay, so at least they're being equal with showing, because, she rejected Ken, and she's like, no, I'm like, you're not my boyfriend. And he's like, so they decided to make it to be Ken land instead of Barbie land, and they were treating the women just like the women treated the men. So I'm like, well, at least it's fair and they're giving each other equal treatment. Um, and I think that was just the hardest part for me, is was this the feministic mindset coming through, and that's not okay with me. I don't approve of that. I don't, yeah, I think there's so much more that still gives women our beautiful place, in so many places in life, without, trying to be better than the men, and trying to, be things that we're not supposed to, in the different areas. But otherwise, I loved the clothing. I loved just the videography and everything like that. I thought that was super cool and chic and fun. And yeah, it was just different with like the fake world and the real world and coming together. The way it ended, I'm like, well, okay, at least she realized that she can be real now and come out of like the Barbie creation that she was created to be. But it ended with, I thought that they were going to somehow come together in the end and be Barbie and Ken. So yes, at least it was, I appreciated how Barbie was telling Ken, you aren't all of these things just because of me or because of those things. You want to find out who you are because that's you. So that was positive, that was healthy. But still, it's like they didn't get married, they didn't raise a family. And this reminds me, okay, I don't know how many of you ever had this, but the mommy to be doll and the daddy to be doll growing up, I had those. I don't know what happened to them. I remember a leg breaking on one of them, so I had to rubber band it around together. But it had the tummy that would come on and come off, attach itself and detach. And you could put the baby in breech position, in the normal position. I thought it was the coolest invention of all time to have a Barbie that could be pregnant if she wanted to be. And when she wasn't pregnant, just take that big tummy off. I definitely want to buy those again because, yeah, like I said, I don't know. I had a Barbie doll collection and I don't know what happened to it. But yeah, so it's like, well, yeah, it's cool where she kind of ended, but at the same time, it's like I hope for so much more, and I wish that there could be a movie, I guess, that's like, okay, since we have all these feministic, ideals and ideology and ways of life and promoting and pushing and that's like the main thing out here in society. I get that because that's the way of the world. That's not coming from a Christian, godly perspective way of living. It'd be amazing if we could do that for the stay-at-home mothers and the strong feminine women. So, all in all, to say, as we wrap this up, I am not a fan of the Barbie movie at all, but there are some fun, cute, nice things that were in that movie. But as a whole, I was really disappointed, and I think it was a waste of my time. Um, I mean, I still love the Barbie Outer Beauty, and it's something that I can always aspire to be because I feel like I'll never, get the perfect bust and waist and uh the behind and maybe the face or the skin or all these things that we so desire and want to attain, but she's still there and I still appreciate that. So for whatever this is worth, thank you for your time. And yeah, I just hope that you can take this with a grain of salt, and there are things to love about Barbie and things not to. So anyway, I hope you guys have an amazing weekend, and I'll catch you some other time. So much love. Bye.